What's up, family? This is Miss Divine of the Profit and Growth Hour, filling in for Dr. Business. Yeah, he's MIA today. So anyway, you're tuned into WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. And just before the break, we were talking with Dr. Melissa Tate. She is a counselor of all areas, just about all areas, right?
Yes, that's true.
And if you missed it before, we're going to sort of reintroduce her again so you can sort of get to know her, get a feel for her, because I know a lot of you out there are going through a lot of things. With this being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we want to make sure that you get the help that you need, whether it's through grief, dealing with a loss of a loved one, dealing with depression, whether you're male or female. So she takes both male and female clients. She's been in the this area of work for a long time. She has the education, and most of all, she has the anointing and the calling of God over her life. So you definitely want to get in contact with her at 443-471-8470. Let me say that again, 443-471-8470. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.drmetate.com. That's DRMETATE.com. And check her out, Miss Meditate and Mingle. All right now, Miss Meditate and Mingle on Facebook and Twitter. Dr. Tate, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me today.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell us again who you are and what makes you different from all other counselors.
By trade, I am a mental health professional and psychologist. I am licensed here in the state of North Carolina to provide counseling and supervision in the areas of mental health. I've been in this field for about 10 years, here in Charlotte for about a little over 2 years, 2.5 years. In private practice, I've worked with children as young as 4 years old all the way up to geriatric patients.
Oh, really?
So I started out doing play therapy with young children, that have been, molested, abused, maybe having acting out issues, maybe in the aftermath of a grief, loss of a parent, loss of a loved one.
Yeah. Wait, you said little children that acting out, so the ones that throw the tantrums?
Yes.
So do they really need to be put on Ritalin, or do they need to come to you?
Every case is different. I would say there have certainly been situations where children are too easily medicated. I think there are a number of options that should be explored before considering that.
Okay.
So it's not a easy equation. I would say.
I got you.
I've seen some success. I've counseled some parents with some success that have made dietary changes that have made a difference.
Really?
Taking sugar and certain dyes out of food,
Stop
increasing fruits and vegetables.
Kool-Aid.
That's right. That Kool-Aid.
No more Kool-Aid. Okay. And the sweet tea is even worse because we pack some sweet tea with some sugar.
A lot of sweets in general. That processed sugar and the white sugars are difficult for some kids. Another kid, not a problem. Certain kids, it just doesn't do well for your chemistry.
With their system.
Exactly. So a lot of that, I've seen some parents make changes in dietary changes, maybe add some natural supplements to diet, do differently with structuring how homework or how certain tasks need to be done. So sometimes it's about the environment as well as what you're putting into your body that creates all of this childhood angst, we'll call it.
What's your views on sparing the rod, spoiling the child? Because I know you probably you know that was coming.
I do. I mean, I think in the end, at the end of the day, research shows that hitting a child is not productive. That in the long run, you wind up with an angrier child that learns that hitting is the way to solve a problem or a way to get what you want. So for the most part, there are ways to educate your child and kind of learn your child, parent your child in a way that it becomes a learning experience.
Not even a little spanking, not a tap on the boo-boo.
I think that's pretty typical. You do a little tap on the hand, don't touch that, or little pop, here and there. But there are some children that are just abused and just taken advantage of and really used as property as opposed to being treated like a human being.
And they grow up being adolescents and adults that need your assistance.
Exactly. Young children that need my assistance. Unfortunately, I've seen 4- and 5-year-old children who have already had a life that that is just horrific to even think about. So it's heartbreaking at times to work with some of, very vulnerable populations that have been taken advantage of.
So children, adolescents, teenagers, you work with them. What has been your experience with the teens?
They're fun.
She had to breathe on that
one. I had to exhale for a minute. Adolescents are fun. They're an interesting population. They're really the in between. I would say they're that transitional age where they're trying to figure out if where they came from is really the way that they're supposed to live life. So they're beginning to establish their independence, have opinions of their own, have likes and desires and wants of their own, and they're just ready to take on life. They're a little ego filled, and they don't always recognize the breadth of their actions. So that's where you get a lot of teen risky behaviors, and some of it is typical, and then some of it's just too much. Some of it's too risky to just let go.
Right.
And hope they'll grow out of it, because that needs a little training.
I am going to go ahead and put this out there because we do see a lot of this going on now, and it ties into bullying and then eventually suicide. Same-sex relationships. Teens nowadays, of course, are getting more exposed to gay couples, dating. Not only that, outside of their race, which I personally, Miss Divine, I don't see color. I'm colorblind. I would, if I had children, I would raise my children to not see color, because we're all created from the same God, and we all bleed red blood. So right now, with the population, with all the changes in our government, I think that now North Carolina has legalized same-sex marriages here recently. And I know that more and more people are starting to fall into or go that route for that particular lifestyle. With it being said, the numbers of teen suicides are also on the rise, and a lot of that has to deal with bullying, people getting picked on, young men getting teased for the type of lifestyle that they've chosen. Have you had to deal with that at all?
Yes, I have. I've had a number of clients come into my office struggling with their homosexuality or struggling with their sexuality in general, not quite sure. Is this am I gay? I don't really understand. Or even adults that have come into my office that have been married for a length of time, and now they're like, I don't quite understand what I'm feeling, but I feel like I'm having some homosexual urges. So it kind of transcends, age at this point, because I think we have come from a culture so far that has condemned homosexuality and condemned interracial relationships, and there was kind of this taboo thing that people do. I think our society is changing in the respect that it's becoming a little more acceptable, even politically wise acceptable. But the internal struggle of that is just the same. So yes, I have seen teens, adults, people that have been married and divorced or still married and questioning their sexuality, come into my office and just really trying to figure out where they stand. And I'm a firm believer that if you don't know where you stand as an individual, then it's going to permeate as stress in your life in some way.
Wow. Wow. With that being said, for anyone who is out there who need counseling, who is struggling with their identity, that's struggling with depression that comes with that's struggling with thoughts of suicide, make sure you understand that you can get help. There is help. There is resources available for you and to you. Be sure to get in contact with Dr. Melissa Tate at 443-471-8470. That's 443-471-8470. She will be able to assist you through the process, be able to be of a comfort to you, and non-judgmental. Non-judgmental. Be sure to check out her website at www.drtate.com. Tate.com. That's DRMETATE.com. Dr. Tate.
Yes.
We've touched on people that are struggling with their sexuality. We touched on children, struggles that they go through. I want you to share with us more as it relates to depression and grief counseling. I know that everybody has at least known someone or has gone through or experienced the aftermath or the effects of depression. I myself, believe it or not, and I've never shared this with anyone except close family members, thought that I was depressed and, feeling sad all the time, struggled to get out of bed, went to see a doctor, not a, I'm going to say, I don't even know if I can call them a specialist in this industry, but went to see a doctor and they just immediately threw me on medicine.
Yes.
Effexor, I think. And so I took the medicine for, I think, maybe a month almost.
Okay.
And I said to myself, I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. And I said, you know what? I don't need this. And it's the same thing with any situation you're battling with, I'm assuming, in your life. I said, I'm not going to take this medicine because the person I was actually in a relationship at the time had been depressed or was depressed and was on medicine for at least 2 years. And I guess what they were going through, and because we were in a relationship, I felt like I can help. Whatever was on him transferred to me.
That's very true.
And you have to be very careful in how and when you help people, because sometimes you may not be the one called to help people, which is another thing I want you to touch on, because you're actually called to do this, and it takes a special individual to be able to deal with all the issues and the trauma and the drama that people bring into your office and not allow that to transfer to you and then transfer to your family.
Absolutely.
But I stopped taking the medicine after right at the 30-day mark and never touched it again. So even though I have my what I call bad days, all the days are still good because I'm still above ground and I'm still living. So talk to us about, people that are going through depression, because I know there's a lot of listeners out there now and they may be wondering, well, am I depressed or what's going on?
What's medication? What's happening?
Exactly. So sort of touch on that for us.
Well, you opened a lot of doors. So let me see if I can, navigate this. For the most part, what I would say is, we're all going to have our days when, you're not feeling so well. You don't want to get up, maybe you got a little extra stress on your plate this month. So we all have those days, and that is normal. I don't care who you are.
Okay.
When those days become more consistent and when those days become more debilitating to your activities of daily living, so if you're noticing changes in your sleep habits or change in your eating habits, change in your level of concentration, your level of fatigue, your level of energy, your level of motivation, that's when it becomes like, okay, this is not just I'm feeling some kind of way today. This is getting to be a problem.
Okay.
And so the time frame that I encourage people to think about is, 2 to 3 weeks. You're feeling this way day in and day out. More days than not, I feel sad. I feel, like I want to burst into tears. I feel like I don't want to get out of this bed. I just want to not eat anything, not have much of an appetite. Then we've got a problem. And I wouldn't say don't wait 2 to 3 weeks to get to that point. But once you start to notice those things, just say, you know what, I've been feeling this way for I've been feeling this way for a minute. And it's not getting better. Right. So you start feeling like you're treading water, day in and day out. Then it's time to kind of talk to somebody about it. As far as the medication piece, I'm not a pill pusher. First of all, I don't prescribe medicine, so I'm not a doctor that prescribes medicine. Okay. So I'm not a pill pusher. I've worked very closely with psychiatrists, and I will say I feel like I've worked with some of the best psychiatrists in the business. So I'm very, I have a good knowledge of medication where a lot of counselors don't. A lot of counselors are like, I don't know anything about it. Go see the psychiatrist. So I do have a good knowledge base of medication. What I will say is that for some people, they take their medication and they're fine. Take their medication, they take it as prescribed, they don't feel like they need counseling, they go through their day, they're just like, I just need the edge taken off of this thing that I've been feeling. Once I get that edge off, I can take on the world.
That's a temporary fix.
For some people.
Okay.
Then there's some people that come to counseling, don't need medication. I just need to talk this out. I need a better clarity on what's happening. I need a better perspective, a non-judgmental perspective. Give me some insight so then I can go solve my problem.
Right.
Then there's a pocket of people in the middle that need a good combination of both. And there's no shame in any of it. There's no shame in any of it. So it's like you just got to figure out where you are. So my approach when someone comes to see me is to assess where they are with things. How severe are these symptoms? Are we thinking about hurting ourselves? Are you having, these ordinary, bizarre results? Are you not getting out of bed? Are you not going to work because you feel this way?
Right.
Are you not as productive at work because you feel this way? To just kind of assess where the symptoms are, and then I'll say, well, let's see if we can make some environmental changes, see if we can kind of push your initiatives a little, and make sure you're eating every day, change diet things, don't stay in the bed too long. If we're making little environmental changes and that's not working, then I'll say we might want to start thinking about a psychiatrist. And so then we'll take the route of, let's try this other part. And some people do need to just take the edge off their symptoms before they really feel like they can, okay, now that, I'm not feeling this doom and gloom over my head, it's, the little edge is taken off. Now I can get out of the bed. Now I can fight. I can really, kind of confront this thing that I have.
Right.
Everything about depression tells you to turn inward and just crawl up in the bed and go to sleep. Crawl up in the bed, go to sleep, don't eat.
Right.
Just, kind of be like a little hermit. And you have to fight that every day. And it is a fight.
It's a struggle.
For people with serious clinical depression, it is a fight. It sounds like what you were going through was a thing. You had a bout, you had a moment, you were in that space and time, you had a moment. It's not a lifetime clinical depression. There are some people that experience that day in and day out, and they just have a hard time getting out of that. So my recommendation is to just go. There's no harm in talking about what you're experiencing. Right. I'm a firm believer that everybody could use a little bit of counseling.
Yes.
Everybody could use just somebody who's
support.
Yes, has no skin in the game to just say this is where I am in life. Some people come to me just for life transitional discussion.
Okay.
Just to say this is where I am. I'm graduating college and I'm trying to figure out what kind of adult I'm trying to be. Or I'm on the heels of a divorce. This is who I've been for 15 years in this marriage, and now I'm trying to figure out who I am as an individual outside of that marriage. So there are some people that come to me just for life discussion about where am I headed as a person, and how do I feel good about the direction I'm headed. So people can come to counseling for all sorts of reasons. And I kind of like the versatility in my day that I don't really know what I'm working with from 1 hour to the next.
Wow.
And sometimes it's a new story I've never heard. But 9 times out of 10, I've heard your story before.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a little twist on it here and there,
Right.
but the basic story is that we're all struggling with things, and there's no harm in talking to people about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is some good stuff, family. So you see who you're dealing with. This is Dr. Melissa Tate. I'm Miss Divine. We've been here speaking with her about different things that people need counseling for. We were talking about depression, abused children, homosexuality. So if you're dealing with anything in your life right now, make sure, and like you said, in general, some people just need to talk with someone.
Yes,
right?
That's it. Yep, just a trend. I'm in a phase in my life where I'm not quite sure where I'm headed.
Yeah.
Or I know where I want to be, and I'm not quite sure how to get there. So kind of a life coaching perspective.
Okay. Life coaching. Family, be sure that you call Dr. Melissa Tate at 443-471-8470. That's 443-471-8470. Make sure you go to the website at drmetate.com. That's drmetate.com. Also, check this diva out, Miss Meditate and Mingle on Facebook and Twitter. I said Miss Meditate. That's MS, okay? Meditate and Miss Meditate and Mingle on Facebook and Twitter. And again, that number is 443-471-8470. I am Miss Divine, co-host of the Profit and Growth Hour. You're tuned in to WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thank you for tuning in to Wellness Wednesday on the Profit and Growth Hour, where we deal with healing for your mind, body, and soul.